Lakshmi, strong women, preservers of earth, protectors of humans.
A little bit of background.
Burnside Street. This is the Burnside Chronicles. Saddle up.
The rolling tour of Southeast Portland.
Video as a tool for social change for 15 years.
The armored
We
cars.
produced one short series as a committee of the Peace Coalition when we formed in January 1991.
I'm the producer of The Hour of Life, and I just want you to know that maybe 21 years ago, my pastor started with peace.
The ability of citizens to communicate their thoughts and ideas to one another is arguably the most important facet of democracy. But what is not
family
the
to
debate,
check,
I would
but
like
bring
to
them
tell
on
you
down.
how
We
we
take
started
cash, credit cards.
Lured us to locations that was supposed to be evacuation points, and they turned out to be V.R.E.
So for about $2, you get a whole pound of great cereal. Now I want to make a point about that too, because we're on the island of Maui. Everything has to be shipped over here, so it's even more expensive here than it would be on the mainland. The mainland, you're going to find that even the prices are more affordable.
Hurry, guys. I gotta do this on a rush. I'm in a rush.
It's okay.
Oh, I think it's wait.
No.
So I gotta have a week.
So we have, hey. So we have other people that are shopping here because this is a very popular place to be.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now we want to show you that you can get. Check this out: pine nuts, pumpkin seeds, and what's over here? Okay.
I am so sorry, but
It's
I
okay.
have
It's okay.
people waiting. I gotta grind this coffee.
We're not having anybody stop.
Wait.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Don't worry about it. Go, Art.
We'll pause and we'll just continue on.
Okay, cool.
Here, can I hold that up for you? I have to hold that up for him, Landon.
Yeah.
Where
I
you
know
guys from?
it is my favorite.
You guys
I
are from
live
here,
here.
right?
I live in Wayback.
Where are you from?
California.
Which part?
Newport Beach.
All right, man. I'm from Santa Cruz, bro.
Awesome.
I lived all over.
I lived in Santa Cruz for 6 years.
Santa Cruz rules, man.
Santa Cruz is the best.
Yep. No Kauai, no doubt. Now I live in Maui, no Kauai. How's the waves been in Newport, dude?
They've been all right. They're kind of slow before I got here.
My friend surfed yesterday, Jaws 30 foot, bro.
Jaws?
30 foot.
Here? Yesterday?
Jaws.
Wow.
Here.
Yeah.
30 foot right there.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
Do you hear that, Chan? 30-foot waves at Jaws up the way here a bit.
Best
yesterday.
granola of all these granolas,
Check
and
that
I'm a
out.
granola aficionado, is the hemp. It tastes the best, but it's also the best alternative because hemp has been illegal for too long. All the products you can make out of hemp, it's been controlled by the Dark Lords who rule this planet, the shadow government, the RAND Corporation, and all the Illuminati. Now hemp is coming back, so you can get hemp clothing, and we would not have to cut down any trees if they allowed hemp growing in the United States.
Oh.
So there.
What's your name?
Clarence Tatum.
Well, there you have it.
Thank you, Clarence.
Attention. Incredible. Where did she get her view of the world?
14 people are dead, including
Who will be her role models?
not what it seems. Alex Ansary, Outside the Box.
Doing a rolling tour of Southeast Portland. Yeah, those are the armored cars. Thank you. Happy birthday. Slansfield, and I'm an independent producer here at Portland Community Media. I really appreciate having access. I don't know about you folks, but that's my favorite car lot. Has this ever happened to you? Well, my name is Chris, and I'm a big rapper. You know sometimes I like to dress dapper. I'm coming to you from the P-Town. PCM is holding it down because it's an avenue for thought. A First Amendment, free speech, that's what they taught. You know you may have not learned it in school, but come on down to PCM where it's cool. It's cool to relate and relax and conversate and talk with those who want to relax. Yo, what's up? You know you won't get jack because it's PCM in this P-Town. I'm saying what's up and what's going down. You know I pray in the morning, noon, and night. I say what's up, God, for shedding the light, for showing me what's real and what is fake. I say what's up. You know I hope they don't take my serenity and my peace of mind. I'm saying what's up. Thank God I'm not blind. I came into a new way of life and then I walked into PCM without a wife. Yo, what's up? It's okay if you're single. You know you can hang out and just kind of mingle. What's up? What's going on? I'm saying what's up to the fellas that are strong and to the ladies kicking it too. Saying what's up to the red, white, and blue, and peace to all you brothers, you mothers, and you lovers. What's going on? It's all about peace. Come on now, let's increase the peace. PCM is holding it down, the First Amendment, and it ain't time to clown. Yo, my name's Chris Lansfield. I'm a producer here at PCM. I take the First Amendment very seriously. I appreciate it. I appreciate what they're doing here. They're helping give a voice to the voiceless, you know. It's like we may not have millions of dollars to pump out our message across the airwaves, but thanks to God above and a few other things, we're able to get our message across. And, you know, that's a blessing. So I'm out.
Hi, I'm Dawn Higgins, executive producer of Galactic Groove After Dark. But you also know me as Alexander Paris. Now, you're wondering, what is she doing not wearing hair or makeup? Well, being the executive producer is not always glitz and glamour, but it takes a lot of hard work, and, well, somebody's got to do it, but it's always worth it in the end just to bring you a fresh episode every week. So we're hoping so far that you're enjoying the show. Now, just a little bit about me. I've been producing my show here at PCM since 2001, and it's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. Now, when I had the original concept of my show in 2001, it was going to be this big, gay American bandstand, but it evolved into the show that you all know and love today. So let's roll that clip. Oh. I'm in love with Craig Miter, and I don't give a damn who anybody knows.
I am not responsible for anything that she does. Anything at all. I am completely innocent, sweet.
Okay. So I went a little crazy there, but that was the night that I didn't have my medication. And I'm usually a little bit mellower than that during my live shows. But that's what happens when you fall in love, but that's not what it's all about. Me acting like a mad woman and jumping up and down on top of the furniture during my live shows is, well, not the only highlight of Galactic Groove After Dark. Let's take you downstairs to the Embers Avenue where I usually film the show, and you can see some of the chaos unfold before your very eyes. Well, my reaction to the chaos behind the camera. Anyway. Call Senator Gordon Smith. It's very important. Let him know that net neutrality is very important.
Call that old
old bugger.
Yeah, call the old fart. Just like Bobby Michelle said, call the old fart. Now, it's not always about me being tortured by my fellow performers. I've also had some special guest stars on my show as well. So let's take a peek at that.
I like it. But we'll spell it as in like B. Arthur, B-E-A, rather than B-E-E.
Right, exactly. Now, I also understand that you used to work for... Well, now that you've seen a little bit of the show, be sure to catch it as well as your other favorite cable access shows here on PCM. And I just want to sing one last thing before I go. Happy 25th anniversary, PCM, and here's to the next 25 years of serving the community and preserving the final frontier of freedom of speech. Have a good night.
Okay, do we have tour marshals in place? Okay, we're going to go on the clock for heat 1A. That's heat 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good start. Get side, turn 4, about lane 3. Right-hand side, lane 3, turn 4. All right, that's a one lap pit. That's a DQ on the frosted flake. Two dead, all right, that's dead boats out around the back. We only have one left running. Do I have corroboration on that right-hand call?
Let me tell you a little about this club, RC Unlimited. It's been around since 1974. RC Unlimited stands for radio-controlled unlimited hydroplanes. These are 1/8 scale replicas of the full-size hydroplanes that you see race on Lake Washington in Tri-Cities. And they almost raced them on the Columbia River right out there off of Vancouver, but it was deemed a little too rough. But our course is set up the same way, same number of buoys that the full-size boats use generally. And our rules are absolutely identical, except we like to think we're a little more a bigger show, because instead of the average of 12 boats you see at an unlimited hydroplane race, we have 40 at a race, and it's extremely competitive.
This particular festival brought a lot of teachers from all over the country and the States, and some of the instructors even from Argentina, including myself, that I'm from Istanbul, some of the other instructors from Hawaii, the other cities in States, or some other countries from Europe, that they're getting together and teaching, exchanging the ideas.
To me, Tango is about letting go, and it's about flying and moving to a magical space where it's like another world. It's an escape.
Tango, for many people, means life, means loneliness, and means also happiness. It's like a virus. Once it gets to you, you're dead, and you're alive at the same time. There's a famous phrase in tango that says, "Tango que me hiciste mal, y sin embargo te quiero." Tango, you did so bad to me, I still love you.
Life is like tango. Sad, sensual, sexy, and quiet, and sometimes violent.
Hello there! Welcome to Low Comedy. It's not the high and mighty comedy. It's not the middle class sensibility comedy. It's low Low Comedy. I'm here with Jerry Springer and the Low Comedy Comedians. So take it, Jerry.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you.
M-O-M-M-E-Y. That spells money. That is why. You'll be rich, I'll be rich. While we kiss our job goodbye.
One of these days, Alice, bang, zoom, to the moon.
Well, that's where our bills are gonna go if you don't stop buying things we don't need.
Public comment, we are too. Comment relief is what we do. I got the Flintstones and Homer. What am I doing here?
Speaking of which, Wilma, I'm home.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Judy.
I am the judge. I am the judge.
You're the sleaze.
Boo! Boo! Oh! Oh! Hey, wait! You may be wondering why I am dressed like this.
Are you crazy, Kirk?
None? You are a mental case.
Think about it, Ralphie. The one space cadet, the corny as he can be. The skipper was very strange too.
They might like it, they might hate it. So what? Who cares?
Tell them you'll never write a script this bad again.
No, I'll write worse script. My girlfriend's dying on me.
Kirk, you must be really desperate if you want to make love to a dead woman.
No.
Uh-oh.
Kirk?
I'm not having a relationship, I'm just hugging her, and she's just popping up.
Oh, dear Lord.
Well, what are you going to do about it? Oh my God!
We're gonna get you, Kirk! Everyone's gonna get you! Get into Kirk!
You did it! Oh! 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 Not on his head! No! I'm being slimed! Look! You know what this does to you? Right that to you? Oh my God! I got slime! Look at me! This is disgusting! That's all we have for Low Comedy. We'll be back next week. Okay!
As of 2006, Flying Focus Video Collective has been producing video as a tool for social change for 15 years. We produced one short series as a committee of the Peace Coalition when we formed in January 1991 during the so-called Gulf War, and a second one in the summer of 1991 after we adopted our name. Our weekly half-hour showcase, the Flying Focus Video Bus, premiered on November 18, 1991. The showcase of finished works and works in progress has featured conferences, forums, demonstrations, street theater, speeches, and interviews in the field, as well as in the studio. Our first episode, Video Politique, featured segments on nuclear testing, affordable housing, and a protest against General Colin Powell, which was a good introduction to the wide spectrum of our interests. Since then, we have covered topics including animal rights, civil rights,
police officers, jails, boot camps, education, training, deployment overtime,
police accountability, workers or labor issues, the death penalty, economic justice, environmental justice, feminist issues, healthcare alternatives, indigenous peoples, media and communications, multicultural issues, nuclear issues, organizing for change, sexual orientation, systems of government, urban concerns, war and peace, and foreign affairs.
Your car's just real cool.
You like it?
Yeah.
You like the car? Bring the family, the checkbook. Bring them on down. We take cash, credit cards. Volvos are us. We sell to minors. There's no minimum age. Infants can buy our cars. You can be 5. We give special deals to 5-year-olds.
5-year-olds don't even drive.
pasó? ¿Qué pasó? O se entrega, murió. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Chassí ya no es logrado. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? A globo me lató. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? O político faló. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? El pizza acabó. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Chassí. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? A Caipira plantó. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? A policía llegó. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? O se entrega, murió. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Chassí ya no es logrado. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? A globo me lató. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? O político faló. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? El pizza acabó. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Chassí ya no es logrado.
5-year-olds can't drive.
But I'm only 4.
4. All right. This time we'll let you off. No more driving when you're 5.
Okay.
Hi, producer can have many different varied roles to get their shows publicly aired regardless of our own individual effort. We are supported by the staff here, which has been great. We really appreciate the community here. In my productions, I've spent most of my time in the edit room. My show, UFO Phenom, is an educational show. It's to prompt you, to get you thinking about reality, thinking about other reality, and really to question what's going on. In Portland, Oregon in 1947, on July 4th, there was an event that happened, and it was reported in front page Oregonian headlines on July 5th and 6th. What about today? Is it acceptable to talk about UFOs today and publicly? Most people feel a little weird about it. Why don't you see it in the press? Why is it in this country you don't see much? And then why is it that you see it more like in other countries like Mexico? What is reality? Who knows what reality is? Don't we all create our own reality by the basis of what we perceive? Doesn't the public media have a role with that? So what is reality anyway? Don't you determine it with your senses? Isn't it affected by what we've been told?
That's the edge of the Earth. Remember, the shuttle flies upside down. First anomalous object in the right-hand lower corner. Here comes now. It will bloom slightly. Now here comes another object that's moving and decelerating. Now this very bright object comes to a hovering position. You see the corona around the object. And that first object See, the shuttle is moving on, and we see that first object is going to reverse its course and go back the way it came from. You'll see another object below the clouds, which is coming right now, hop up through the cloud. Another object that's blinking on the lower right-hand side of the screen. It's, none of our satellites carry blinking light, but this one could not be a satellite because it will change directions.
Congratulations to PCM for 25 years of service to the community and its contributions to the underserved populations in Portland. Health is on everyone's mind today. How to stay healthy, how to afford health care. IFAR's Treatment Information Exchange programming should help to provide an in-depth answer to the many questions and concerns about our health. We produce programs each year on influenza, access to care, treatment, and services for the aging population, as well as special programs like the White House Conference on Aging. Our special population programs address health issues in the Black, Hispanic, and Asian communities, working with organizations like Educata Ya, LifeWorks, and Brother to Brother. We address issues like HIV/AIDS, speaking directly and honestly with key researchers and advocates. And this is critical in getting the real answers and the equitable solutions to such important questions. IFAR covers prevention of disease issues to treatment of disease and even how to prepare for inevitable death. While we cover more common subjects like treatment and care of diabetes and heart disease through nutrition and exercise, we also cover niche diseases, even those that may qualify for orphan status at the FDA. IFAR's programming is produced in the Portland Community Media Studios, as well as wherever healthcare issues are covered. Town hall forums covering access to healthcare in our communities, medical information programs and seminars at hospitals, hotels, and convention centers. I hope you will click to our website schedule to review IFAR's upcoming events. IFAR events that may either be viewed in person, on cable TV, or the web. Please take an interest in your health.
Of Burnside Street. This is the Burnside Chronicles. Saddle up.
Beautiful.
And ride on down the road. Don Smith, volunteer producer at Portland Community Media for the last 2.5 years. With education and participation, I am able to communicate my views to the surrounding community through this outstanding facility.
More than mistakes. We're stabbing fascists and fucking them up. We knew about the racist master, the slave and master, relationship that we had to break.
Oh, society, race.
You're watching the Burnside Chronicles.
There you go. Oh my God.
And they'll try to trick you into doing things that you really don't.
A little bit of background, I was appointed to the Planning Commission in the rapidly growing community of Lakeville in 1989. That's when I first became aware of the Metropolitan Council, and unfortunately have followed its actions and antics ever since. This community had the ability to benefit from watching the mistakes of the communities that went before us in their development, but also got caught in the snare of the new utopia, and we're going to have all these wonderful new growth patterns. Is where are these people going to live? Well, hopefully they live where they want to live. One of the things I talk about is as I go door knocking, one year I door knocked over 10,000 homes in my district, and gee, guess what? I never got to the door of a house, of a $300,000 house on a cul-de-sac, and the homeowner said to me, golly gee, I really wanted to live on a high-density, transit-oriented development, but I just couldn't find the right one, so I got stuck out here on this ugly cul-de-sac in Lakeville with my Rainbow Play system in the back and a great school system.
Welcome to the Independent Producers Organization program. This is the program that showcases independent producers, their productions, and provides a forum for discussing issues which affect independent television producers here in the Pacific Northwest.
Welcome to the Independent Producers Organization. This is the second Wednesday of October the 11th, and the second Wednesday of each month we have our 2-hour show on Channel 23 out of Portland Community Media. And I would like to just at the front end thank all the technicians and the staff and Portland Community Media for hosting our show and program for about 8 years. In response to Portland Community Media Facility's 25th anniversary request for producer clips and intros for various producer shows, each to last for approximately 90 seconds of intro and 90 seconds of edited show. This is a feeble attempt and a first take at the intro to the video to be edited for the showcase event. The Independent Producer Organization, IPO, came together as a group of producers concerned about producing issues on a community access level concerning the community access and issues in the community. Tim Herman, myself, helped activate the IPO in approximately May of 1997 when then-director Rob Skelton challenged us as producers to form a representative group to help amplify and coordinate our concerns with the board and staff of the Portland community facilities. I soon asked Jim Lockhart on my right to take on position with me as co-liaison of the IPO. After several years, I asked Bruce Broussard if he could assume co-liaisonship from me as I was out of town a lot and share the leadership of the IPO with Jim Lockhart. Starting January of 1998 with RKH Productions we've started producing a monthly independent producers organization show. 2 hours live monthly show since then, and we have had a lot of great topics, and I hope you enjoy the short compilation of clips coming up.
October the 14th, that's this Saturday, at Northeast 21st, Central Lutheran Church, 1820 Northeast 21st. And it starts around 7 o'clock, and we wish you all the luck, and please, whatever, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much, and you too.
Thank you. Okay, I will. And for our audience, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Independent Producers Organization here at Portland Community Media. And don't forget, look out and keep an eye out for Alice Lam in Focus. Thank you.
Look what I said.
31st annual picnic. It went down. Those who missed it should have been here. The parking lot was full. Everything was crazy. And if you haven't been here next year, you got to make it. Those who did make it, thank y'all for coming out. Thank you.
No longer lost, continue my pimping like what's the business? It's pimping and hoeing, the world's in it. So I'm soaking it up just like a sponge, the term is skinning. From the streets to executive suites, you heard that. So I'm stacking stacks, rolling in Jags and Cadillacs.
Motherfuckers that make me this way. Maybe I'll take a second or maybe I'll break. I could explore that any. We always talk to keep that thing cocked. Cause people know where you hang out. And I be damned if I'm caught without mine. You better keep your shit in line. Cause I'm out of my mind.
I live the life of a soldier, mind state of a killer. Only hang with the real, cause I'm so great like a dealer. Money makers the mission, all about getting dollars. Listen up and pay attention, fakers hating can holler. Ain't no time for no games, but these niggas don't see until they feeling them flames. And brain staying in the streets, remain standing your teeth. But trying to talk like you big, wear vest on your chest. But nowadays they aiming at here, so just stay along. Don't be stupid, stay out of dodge, cause they shooting. And they be quick to bust, so try to stay safe, G. I'll carry your gun and make sure it ain't on safety. Cause in these mean streets, you gotta think hard. Be ready for anything and stay strapped off. With a tech or a Mac, or maybe just a night. Cause the life as a rider, you rider must take lives.
We living life as a rider. We keep the pistols right beside us. So if you double cross us, we'll let you know by letting that thing fire. We always talk to keep that thing cocked. Cause people know where you hang out. And I be damned if I'm caught without mine. You better keep your shit in line. Cause I'm out of my mind. We living life as a rider. We keep the pistols right beside us. So if you double cross us, we'll let you know by letting that thing fire. We always talk to keep that thing cocked. Cause people know where you hang out. And I be damned if I'm caught without mine. You better keep your shit in line. Cause I'm out of my mind.
I couldn't help but notice your pain. My pain runs deep. Share it with me.
Life of a hustler, mind full of sick thoughts. Wonder will I live or be blind until I'm in the corpse? Cause all I see is getting richer. Shaking these stitches and phony bitches getting paid is my only mission. Feeling stressed, I'm like a fiend. Fulfilling my dreams and clocking G's like I'm hopeless but still proceed. Living life, I'm in the fast life, get it right. Selling hypes, I'm just a hustler, so we rock.
Where you hang out. And I be damned if I'm caught without mine. You better keep your shit in line.
I couldn't help but notice your pain. My pain runs deep. Share it with me.
Hi, my name is Joe Tabor. On this episode of Set Up Two Glasses Joe, we're going to talk about higher mathematics in the form of the function called the exponential function. We'll also look at the logarithm function. Exponentials and logarithms are very valuable bits of knowledge for those of you looking for careers in science, industry, engineering, medicine, and even banking. In fact, you might want to watch the show just to understand your bank account. An exponential function expression looks like this: y equals b to the x power, where b is called the base, x is called the exponent. The simplest explanation is that the base is multiplied by itself x times to get the answer y. An actual example where b equals 3 is shown over here on this poster. Note that where x equals 1, the answer y is 3, but when x is 2, the answer is 3 times 3, or 9. That's 2 multiplies of 3. 3 times 3. When x is 3, the answer is 3 times 3 times 3, or 27. That's 3 multiplications of 3. When x is 4, the answer is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or 81, and that's 4 multiplications of 3. So this graph acts like a machine that multiplies the answer by 3 every time we move one step to the right in the x direction. And it divides the answer by 3 when we move left in the negative direction. Another example shown here is the growth of a bank account over 30 years. And then for those of you interested in music, the vibration frequency generated by an instrument uses a well-tempered scale based on an exponential function to the power of 2 for every octave. Here the ringing of a tuning fork is measured and photographed as it loses power over time in what closely approximates a negative exponential function. So here's what's really interesting about the exponential function. As exponents add, the answer is multiplied by a value. As exponents subtract, the answer is divided by a value. There's no better way to illustrate how all of this works than by using a now old-fashioned calculating machine called a slide rule. We can prove that 2 rulers make an adding machine. Then we can modify the rulers so that the scales go by factors of 10 instead of steps by 1 at each inch. When we add factors of 10, we multiply by 10. When we subtract factors of 10, we divide by 10. However, in between these 10s, the slide rule works by having a very specially numbered scale between 1 and 9.999. With all of the demonstrations on the show, you will very likely learn an awful lot about exponentials and logarithms. Please stay tuned and enjoy the show. Or the Bill of Rights.
preserve Mother Earth for ancestors yet to come. Land. To our brothers and sisters and all living things across Mother Earth, that the Creator has given each individual all revelation.
Lakshmi, strong women, preservers of earth, protectors of humans. I am connected to them through a piece of earth, a piece of wood, a statue of a woman and her baby, hand-carved in 1812 in Czechoslovakia. The image of a mother and her baby has been celebrated for thousands and thousands of years. All of the women who have carried the statue with them through life have my names, Anne or Marie. All of them also share my blood. The names of the guardians of the statue since 1812 are written in pen. I wonder who the women guardians were before me. How did they live? Were they like me? Did they dream of peace as I do? Why did my namesake come to America? What lessons have these women learned and left running in my veins? The privilege of guarding the statue brings unspoken responsibilities. It is as if each Anne or Marie had their own special contribution to the world. This tie to the statue brings us courage to do our best. I am not alone. I have the wisdom of my ancestors in my blood. This much I can trust.
I'm the producer of The Hour of Life, and I just want you to know that maybe 21 years ago, my pastor started with PCA. He's been there a lot longer than I have, but in the last 9 years I've been doing the producing. Gradually, as he added equipment to the church, we've been doing more and more from just church. He originally started using your studios there, your equipment, but now we're doing most everything from the church. We have 3 cameras, we have mixer, switcher, commercial VTRs, monitors, computer, DVD, recorder, and player. My beginning at PCA started like all of yours with an orientation meeting, 3 classes. I used cameras at church, and eventually I started using the switcher and the character generator. Then I've learned to stream online, which means that we produce live on the internet from church, and 50,000 people have hit on that website just this year. And it all started with PCA. I developed editing skills in Adobe Premiere for using the computer editing. Lance for helping me understand some of the things in the several books that I had purchased. He deserves that. The clip we're doing today will give you a taste of what we do on Hour of Life.
And out on sun will be the leading one in that meeting in the air. The thief hanging by his side. He spoke with love and compassion. Then he took him to paradise, if that is a love. What would I do without Jesus, the shepherd of my valley?
Rock of Ages, cleft for me. His name is Jesus, and all you got to do is look up and say, Lord, let me hide myself in thee.
The Lord has really touched your head.
He healed them all. Jesus hasn't changed. His power is just the same.
Jesus is that lighthouse. He's the light of the world.
The light that shines in darkness now will safely lead me over.
Lured us to locations that were supposed to be evacuation points, and they turned out to be merely roundup points. They packed so many of us in here. People ended up sleeping in the same place where we had to use the bathroom, and the military said they were not interested in sanitation.
On the other side where they were guiding us to walk were thousands and thousands of people behind a barricade waiting for buses that would never come.
The first thing I saw when we came around the exit was full quarterlets. And there were thousands of people out there, full quarterlets. I knew something was wrong.
There were people out there for more than 2 days. Some folks have been out there for a week or more. You can imagine that the problems that aroused with that, with not enough bathroom facilities, not enough food and water, and be cordoned off under a bridge in America for days like that. It was really unreal, with no kind of structure or idea of how we were going to get to the next point, or if we were ever get to the next point.
That's what made me so scared with the machine guns. The gun
They
was
walked around with
pointed
it like
right
this,
at us.
like this.
Told us, you lost your American citizenship, you have to do whatever we say. Huge machine guns like I've never seen before. And not only did they just like carry the gun so that the gun was like just away or pointed in the air. No. Sometimes it might have been a little bit up in the air, but often it was pointed right at me and right at other people, like as if it was like aim fire.
We suffered exposure to severe weather conditions, 105-degree temperatures, no shade, mind you. They would not clean the area. They would not give us what we needed to clean the area. They essentially created a garbage dump and made us live on it and sleep on it.
It was just unbelievable that something like this could happen in the United States.
They wouldn't give my people one ice cube.
It's hard to believe that it happened, but it did happen. It was horrible.
Those left to die.
Hello, my name is Marion Samp. I'm with Grace Life Fellowship Hour here in Portland, Oregon. I would like to tell you how we got started with PCA. In February 1985, a young man's car broke down in front of our house. We found out he was doing programs at PCA. He invited us to come on his program, so we did for about 2 months, and then PCA asked us why we weren't doing our own program. They said they would help us and train our own people. So about April of 1985, we started doing our programs at PCA in North Portland on Lombard Street. We now have our own studio and church and are reaching out to Aberdeen, Washington, Longview, Tri-Cities, Yamhill County, and other areas. And we are also streaming video around the world. We want to say thank you to PCM for all you have done for us to help us reach out with our message of the gospel. We would like to encourage others to get involved into this program at PCM, because it was not only be helping to get your message out, but also doing your part in the community and an open door to your voice. It's been fun, but it's been hard, but the rewards have been great, and also a fulfillment and accomplishment as we stayed with the program at PCM. This has given us an opportunity to do things we never done before, and here is an example of our work.
God will absolutely function in our influence of the Holy Spirit at work in our life. Let it go. Let him be loose from that dilemma. Would you say, man, you ought to give him a hand for that, because he's delusive. It's not bound only by an anointing from the head right on down to give us victory, so that we can shout hallelujah, glory to God. Still to come yet, and God's still got some good things in store, and I give the glory to God. I give the praise. God's given you an opportunity to ask and to seek and to knock. If I can't speak something good into your life, I'll keep my mouth shut. With faith, you ask. With faith. If you can't love the unlovely, you got no business being in the ministry at all, and it's time you get out. If you're not willing to take joyfully the spoiling of your goods, then you're not in the right place to be a pastor or anything of that nature. Until you come in all that he's called, begins to breathe on you, he'll help you become all. Never, never, never.
The ability of citizens to communicate their thoughts and ideas to one another is arguably the most important facet of democracy. But what is not open to debate is the fact that the technology of the media has gotten so complicated and expensive that it is no longer open to the average citizen. This was partially remedied in 1972 when the FCC required the cable operators to provide public education and government channels for the citizens to access and provide content from their community. In 2006, here in the Rose City, Portland Community Media is celebrating 25 years of providing a forum for ideas and events and values that are important to the local community. My name is Jim Lockhart, and I have been producing content for public access television since 1995. I originally got involved with public access television in order to spotlight the conditions in our national forests. Though I've moved on to produce on other issues, I still produce a program which features ground truthing field trips to U.S. forest timber sales. Ground truthing is visiting areas proposed for logging in order to gather information and important natural characteristics that would be destroyed by the logging. One of the most important aspects of public access is the voice it gives to minorities and the underprivileged. In the summer of 1995, I was fortunate to begin producing and hosting Native Nations, a program featuring indigenous issues and culture, which continues to this day. Likewise, on a weekly live call-in program, A Growing Concern, I feature guests and play video clips of events whose message has difficulty gaining its full share of attention. Over the last 11 years, through the technology provided by public access facilities, I've been able to report on issues and events important to our local, national, and global community. Globally, the World Trade Organization protest in Seattle at the end of 1999 woke up the world to the problems inherent in globalization and free trade. The various rallies and protests against bombing other countries has demonstrated the weakness and arrogance of the foreign policy of the last 3 administrations. National politics have taken center stage here in Portland with the 2000 third-party candidacy of Ralph Nader, and various conferences have been held here in Portland of national significance. Locally, there have been rallies for students by students, communities and labor against Walmart, labor striking against employers, local environmental advocates protesting the shipping of radioactive waste through our state, and the weakening of clear water regulations, and there have been warnings from members of the community about the dangers of genetically engineered foods. Not to say that there haven't been differences of opinion, such as a worldwide controversy over Palestine. Covering all these seemingly separate issues, I came to realize that being able to speak out is an important issue in itself, and one upon which all others depended for access to community attention. Public television guarantees us a voice in the community. It is a voice shared by all. It is a voice worth protecting.
Sex shows, marijuana plants, a California hypnotherapist who claims to teach the truth. Well, it's on local television, and it's all legal. If you have cable and haven't turned on your cable access channel lately, you may want to, then you may want to turn it off. Amy Morrow checks into why public access is also uncensored.
Conflict of interest, can they actually abstain?
As well. The way to bring them back.
The book I recommend most highly is Indoor Marijuana Horticulture.
Did you drop out of high school? I did too.
There's practically no limit to what you'll see on cable access, and that's the way it's meant to be. Open airwaves, freedom of expression, the Psychobilly revival.
It's a Psychobilly freakout!
Meet Reverend Ryan Teal, a man who wants to enlighten you through music videos.
And God came to me from the radio and said, why don't you start a radio program?
And we bow in your presence, Lord, in the studio.
What you don't know is that the Reverend and his entourage are in reruns on cable access, taped 11 years ago. This is Ryan today, a Milwaukee salon owner, a parent, and slightly embarrassed by his public past.
I wish they wouldn't show it.
Because is that you?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
But as unique as Ryan's show was, there's a lot that's new on cable access that some might say is even more out there. Eli Jackson is a California therapist put on Portland TV to teach self-realization.
But you can't trust your thoughts, you can't trust your emotions, but you can trust yourself.
What? And then there's cannabis common sense. Medical marijuana is legal in Oregon, so what's wrong with showing people how to grow pot?
And if it's grown to 15 feet high, it could produce as much as 5 pounds.
If I started thinking about what's the point of every program, I would start running up against the whole purpose of this organization. That's to get people on, regardless of their program content or regardless of their views.
My name is Teresa Reed, and I'm...
Your views can be expressed for free. Portland Cable Access is nonprofit, funded with city money from a tax paid by cable providers. Unlike regular broadcast television, such as what you see on KOIN, cable access is paid TV. You pay to have the service. So it's not subject to many federal guidelines, including those that limit nudity. A few years ago, the Jim Spag sex show was the subject of a complaint to the Multnomah County District Attorney. There were never any criminal charges because Oregon's Constitution contains next to no limits on how you express yourself and no standard of what crosses the line.
That's really determined on a case-by-case basis, and there's no way to tell you, yes, you can do this, no, you can't do that.
At public access, censorship is not an option, but maybe self-censorship is.
It just shouldn't be made. You know, instead of, them saying, no, it can't be played, just don't make it. You know what I mean? Just don't do it.
But they have every right to do it, just like you have every right to turn it off. Amy Morrow, KOIN 6 News.
About 7 years ago, a group called Action for Children's Television filed a federal lawsuit challenging the decency of cable access shows. As a result, cable access channels, including Portland Cable Access, do have the option of airing some shows that may not be appropriate for children later at night, not during primetime programming.
Plastic surgeons have a new tool to help people look younger.
I believe it was about 1980, and I was part of a group called Creative Outlet, the Video Access Project.
I was director of the Video Access Project.
Yeah, Bob Flug was director of the Video Access Project, and their funding came from a variety of sources. Mostly there was no funding.
We were doing two things. We were cable casting programs, access programs at the existing Liberty system, which had a very nice access facility, and we were participating in the franchise process.
So we started meeting on a regular basis and designing what we wanted the public access facility to be.
There was a very intense competition for the very lucrative franchise in Portland.
The cable company put forth the proposition that there would be 5 access centers.
They put out a proposal that was 2 or 3 volumes long, several inches thick, outlining what they were going to have. They were going to have the latest in technological advances. They were going to have something called Teledon, which was an interactive thing. They were going to provide millions of dollars for cable access. They were going to have 3 studios. They were going to have satellite uplinks. They were going to have staff for the life of the franchise.
The cable companies promised the world, but then of course gave us nothing at the end. But it was a good fight, and I think we did well to get Portland Cable Access started.
If it weren't for people like Bob Flug insisting that the cable operators make this access part of the city contract for the franchise, it wouldn't have happened.
Before cable access, the average American citizen did not have access to television medium other than being a consumer. And now we were providing the opportunity for anyone who was so motivated to come in and take the classes to, for free, learn about the medium, learn to use the tools of its production.
Changing the game. Mass media in the hands of everyone as opposed to mass media in the hands of the ruling elite.
Something that I think was akin to Toto pulling the curtain away and revealing the man behind the mechanism of the wizard.
I think it was a sign of the times, and I think it was new technology, and people were excited.
Part of it also was there was a great community. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time doing it, and I think, to be honest, that was part of the motivation. It was a lot of fun to do access.
Poised on the brink of a new age, mankind turns its back on the humdrum and reaches for the stars. Well, most of us do anyway. These two, oddly convinced that the offbeat is much more fun than the right stuff, choose to walk alone, relentlessly out of step, leaving no rock and roll, prowling the mean streets of what's happening now, to give the citizens an inside, if eccentric, look at things we'd just as soon ignore.
1982, activism was not like it was in the 60s. A lot of that had gone away.
We had commitment back then. Well, you had LSD, miniskirts, and the Beatles. We had peace and brotherhood and Haight-Ashbury. More like the Black Panthers, the Tax Squad. We invented the Frisbee. Vietnam, Berkeley gassings, Kent State. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your crummy war. It was great. Well, yeah, so I heard, but you know, what's wrong with the 80s? What's wrong with the 80s? Not enough spirit and too much quiche. Well, tell you what, if you had the chance, would you go back to the 60s? In a minute. Let me take care of it, Pat. What are you, crazy? You want to roll it in here now? Come on. Wow. Come on, bring it in here. That's just like my old van. Wow. Let's go. You mean we can, just like that? Like I said, it's just TV.
You know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express. They're taking me to Marrakesh. You know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express.
Commercial television, because of its very nature, cannot be representative of the multiplicity of voices that exist in our communities. In that it's driven by commercial considerations. The considerations of the people who hold the money is paramount.
One of the things we designed in the Portland Cable Access System is the idea of narrowcasting.
In broadcasting, you go to the lowest common denominator and you get a lot of people watching very low quality content shows. In narrowcasting, you have a very few people watching a lot of different shows.
If only one person watches or agrees or disagrees with your opinion, that's good enough. We don't have to try to cover all aspects of television and broadcast. And so I think PCA was probably founded on the idea of narrowcasting. We were a small staff to start with. There was only 5 of us. We had almost no budget. Soon after I was hired, Lenny Edwards was hired and Grant Remington. We were then all the staff assistants. We shared one desk and one chair, one drawer each in the desk. There were times when we didn't have money for pencils. We had to bring our own pencils and pens. We didn't have coffee in the facility, nothing. It was just bare bones kind of thing. We had 2 edit rooms. One was a 1/2-inch room and one was a 3/4-inch room. We had 3 portable cameras, but we didn't have cases for them. You know, certainly there were times when there wasn't money for paychecks, but we still all continued to work because we had our love of public access. Originally, Portland Cable Access opened in Southeast Portland off of Foster Road, 54th and Foster.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Oh, welcome to the opening.
Well, thank you very much.
And what brings you down here?
Well, this is the rug store, isn't it?
The rug store. No, it might be over there. This is Portland Cable Access.
Really?
That's right.
What do you do here?
We're making live TV. That camera right there pointing at you. All those folks at home are watching you right now, right, folks?
I'm on TV.
As our budgets grew, it was decided by the board of directors that the north part of the city needed to be developed and have a public access facility. So we asked and lobbied for more money, and we got more money. We actually purchased the building. Personally, some of our staff actually went in and tore down walls and built walls, and it was a real grassroots effort to get this facility going. The second studio opened. We decided that we needed to combine the studios, and we eventually closed the southeast facility and moved everything to the north building for a while this building was under renovation. And again, the staff had a lot to do with the design of this building and the layout of the equipment and the cleanup of the trash that was in this building, you know, that kind of stuff. Everybody worked and pitched in on weekends and, you know, hauled out trash and garbage and tore down walls and stuff like that to save costs. Then this facility opened, and PCA's been in this spot ever since.
Late '81, early '82, I decided to do a documentary about Malcolm X.
He came to the realization that his belief that the white race was the devil was wrong, that blanket condemnation of whites was no more a remedy for the racial problems of the world than was the similar condemnation of blacks by whites.
The autobiography of Malcolm X, I believe, is a text that should be read by the time every American graduates high school. I came to understand that he was a very, very different man than the one portrayed in the headlines, and he continued to interest me, you know, thereafter.
Of the white man. Now, in speaking like this doesn't mean that we're anti-white, but it does mean we're anti-exploitation. We're anti-degradation.
We took kids who were at risk, who had been remanded by the courts to come through our production company and learn television production. And one of the things that we needed to learn about was why they decided to join gangs. We had heard that there was a gangster person in town who was the original Crip from Compton, California. So we had the kids develop a rap song with this guy. And we created backgrounds and had all the kids do camera work. And we did a lovely gangster rap song.
Only to be tricked and misled, not by the powers of nature, but by the evasions of the racist Caucasoid, who brought us across the vast seas, landed on the island of St. Troy, St. Cruz, St. Thomas, Belize, Trinidad, and at last these Americanas to be whipped, broken down, and enslaved for 440 years. And to this very day, our greatest enemy is ourselves.
It's time for a new generation. You know, those of us who were there for many years back when, it was time for us to leave and let new people get in. I mean, that's the whole point. You don't want the same people doing it over and over again. You want some new blood in there.
I was looking for a place where I could touch a lot of buttons, use a lot of equipment, and have fun, and help other people at the same time. Well, an added bonus was I could make TV shows. The Adventures in Television, it was a summer camp, a day camp for kids from the Boys and Girls Club, ages 10 through 15. They were taught how to use the PCA field cameras, how to edit, how to do studio productions, and then with PCA help, they went out back into their Boys and Girls Clubs. They got footage and came back, edited them into 30-second public service announcements to be shown on PCA channels. It was a really positive experience for me. I was a mentor. I worked with one of the groups of kids through the week, and I was kind of their helper.
Ven al club de niños y niñas, te vas a divertir.
We have actually worked on two great projects with Portland Cable Access. The first was they helped Saban CDC design a community video for itself.
The Saban Community Development Corporation is a nonprofit, community-based membership organization which seeks community involvement and commitment in decision-making, planning, and working cooperatively for community revitalization.
We do community revitalization on Alberta Street and some of the surrounding communities. We also believe in preparing people for home ownership. We are dealing with the digital divide issues right now, hoping to bring the full community into that. We're looking to be able to package some of what we do in our classrooms over the cable airwaves, that we can actually target people that are in our communities Sometimes low-income people don't have a budget for entertainment, and entertainment becomes the cable. And we're hoping to use that cable that they have in their house for entertainment and education. The other was our annual Alberta Street Fair, which I cannot believe the wonderful work that Portland Cable Access did. We actually had 33 blocks of vendors and musicians, horse-drawn carriages, kids, people from the community. We actually ended up having almost 100,000 people out. And Portland Cable Access stood there all day long, filmed the entire 33 blocks, filmed our main stage with acts on it. We now use that, as well as the City of Portland's Bureau of Housing and Community Development, to show our community.
The Interstate Firehouse Culture Center is a nonprofit community-based center for the performing and visual arts.
IFCC has been very fortunate to have a partnership with Portland Cable Access. Portland Cable Access actively assisted us by developing a videotape of our projects and documenting the work that we actually have done over 20 years in our history. We received a wonderful grant from Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. With that grant, we will be able to document the work of the artists here at IFCC. So we're very excited about it. In addition to that, we'll be using the cable equipment that's purchased in order to educate students.
I'm a hands-on learner. I didn't really learn very much from the classes, but it kind of gives you some familiarity. And then, I think, some people, most of my fellow students learned a hell of a lot more than I did, just because that's just how I am. I have to actually play with this stuff for a while before I get it. I've been a labor activist for a pretty long time. That's what I took the classes for, is to do labor video programming. Rallies and marches and stuff like that are already trying to get a message across to the general public. Most ordinary people don't have the access to the media that their opponents do, the corporations do. So by putting it on TV, a lot more people see it.
Portland Cable Access has 4 channels, and 3 of the channels are dedicated to the producers who have taken classes here and are certified to be producers. The 4th channel is channel 30. Sitting at 30 does government programming.
One of the things that I think we're up against a lot in government is that it's really, really hard to generate any kind of a buzz about a major project until after that project is really underway.
Governor Tom McCall Waterfront Park is often called Portland's front yard. But this great expanse of lawn stretching from River Place to the Steel Bridge hasn't always been a public park.
Portland Cable Access first helped us produce a video that described the history of the park and outlined the issues that the new master plan would need to address. And one of the reasons that I was excited that Portland Cable Access was able to broadcast the Waterfront Park meeting live is that that meeting generated the buzz.
There are some precedents for some development that's been sort of less than cycle friendly along the waterfront.
Typically the media coverage that we get is after the fact, and it's very, very short, very brief. What we see with Portland Cable Access is the opportunity then to really spend some time with the viewing audience, giving them the kind of information they need to make an informed decision.
I was born in Portland, Oregon, an American of Japanese ancestry. The day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, on December 8, 1941, I went to my classes at the old Lincoln High School. I stood in assembly with the rest of the student body and pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, loudly and clearly. But I became a target of hostility and discrimination because of the way I looked, along with others of Japanese ancestry.
The September 11th horrible act of terrorism against humanity was bad not for this country but for the whole world. There is no religion in the whole world that would support such an act. On the other hand, for Middle Eastern people living in this country, and as a result of this act, there would be a racial profiling from now on. We have seen cases of violence against Muslims. It would take years to change the image again. People are angry, people are frustrated, and I can really understand their anger. But on the other hand, they have to realize that not all Muslims act that way, not all Muslims think that way, and attacking their neighbors actually is not going to solve the problem. And as a citizen of this country with Middle Eastern background, I have this fear, and I'm not really sure how to deal with that.
Eritrea is a small, tiny nation located in East Africa with 3 million people. It's a new nation too. It's just 10 years old nation. This nation became independent after 30 years of war, fighting for independence from Ethiopia. So in 1991 we became independent, a free nation. Every Eritrean was happy. We paid 65,000+ life to become independent nation. After 7 years, 1998, between us, Eritreans and Ethiopians, start conflict because of the small land. Every Eritrean and every Eritrean government said, this is my land. The Ethiopians, the same thing, this is my land. So I have different opinion, and a lot of our people too. This thing is not going to solve it by the war. We should sit and talk instead of going to the war. That's the only thing it can solve it. No one is going to win, I know that. I mean, we're going to cost lives again. So I'm using Portland Cable Access to tell my opinion and to save lives.
I used to watch TV with both my brothers. My brothers are 6 and 8 years older than me, so they had they had a lot of different tastes of what to watch on TV. I remember watching things like the Chess Show and some of those old things.
Chess Show was a live call-in program. It was a game show. The viewers from home would call in and play chess on our show, and I was the chessy hostette.
Like a weather girl, she'd walk around in front of the chessboard.
Yeah, in front of the chroma key screen, and Botalis would do the music and sound effects. And then we also would have a chess master of ceremony who rotated. We had about 3 different ones, I think, and they would actually handle the computer and make the moves and stuff. And we'd have a live studio audience and a different theme every episode.
Hit is the name of the video short. One of my personal favorites, not really a favorite of the common public. I play a hitman who takes a guy down by the river. So I shoot him, he gets up. Shoot him a couple more times, he falls. I start to walk away, he gets up. I think I shoot him some more. So I proceed to, I think I stab him, beat him with a club, bash his head with a rock, and finally I set him on fire. And so at that point I'm sure he's, my job is done. Start to walk away, lo and behold he gets up again. I go back to kill him, I trip, hit my head on a rock, I die instantly. He gets up and walks away. And it's a good overcoming evil kind of thing. I love playing God. That's the thrill of being a writer, movie maker. Yeah, it's the closest thing to playing God that I can think of. And operative word there being plain.
Hey, you've been good to me, Lord. Sure been good to me, Lord. Hey, you've been good, 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 good. Hey, 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 you've been good to me, Lord.
I'm Pastor Mary H. Smith Overstreet. I'm a minister in the city and has been for 35 years. I was accused one time of monopolizing the airways because I put in so much time. When time was available, I came in and I worked. I produced programs. I mean, I can't let some words, harsh words stop me or turn me around because people don't like what I say. I realize if they don't like what I say, it's gonna make them think because they're gonna get angry and they'll think about what I said. So maybe it'll give them a change of heart. If not, I'm not gonna change. I'm going forward. I'm the only one. There's nobody else like me. And I do thank God for the opportunity. I thank God for the challenges. And I thank God for public access.
An organization, an entity like Portland Cable Access really could not exist without not only public support, but the work behind the scenes that was necessary to build the facilities, to continue to fight, to provide access, and just don't take it for granted, and use the hell out of it.
What will keep PCA active is if we keep producing programming that the public wants to watch as an alternative to broadcast television that's controlled by commercials and ratings.
There's got to be some group making media that doesn't answer to a breakfast cereal manufacturer.
But I could envision PCA as being sort of a hub for lots of people making their own videos and being able to stream them out using PCA facilities.
And if the funding continues and PCA has good leadership and direction from its board of directors, there shouldn't be any problem in it with it continuing for another 20 years.
Are you paying for porn? Well, you may be funding a racy TV program without even knowing it. KPTV's Ryan Deal is live in News Control with more. Ryan?
Shauna, let's go behind the scenes for a minute. Here in the Fox 12 control room, Julie is directing, switching from story to story, and Greg is telling her just when to do that. He's the producer. Ours is a control room funded by advertising dollars, but there is another control room in town very similar to this one, and you, as a cable subscriber, are paying for the programming. You might be surprised what you're airing.
Greetings, everyone. My name's Dick Carpenter.
1 minute an educational talk show, and the next...
Come on, participate.
This, most would call it softcore porn. The producer and woman in charge calls it control factor.
If you look at it, it's male-dominated. And females are just now starting to figure out that we can do this, too. And we can do anything that a man can do and just as good.
How much weight can this thing hold?
The main reason for control factor, a no-holds-barred celebration of sexuality in all its forms, most of which we can't show you because the federal government says so. But when it comes to cable or public access, the law says no problem, allowing a variety of viewpoints all on one channel, yours.
People are working to manage it, but personally, I'm not sure it all works as, you know, I might like or you might like.
Eric Stan is the Portland City Commissioner in charge of cable access, in charge only so far as helping to ensure the system runs smoothly and is fair and open to all. And it is.
It's absolutely true that you can do things on cable television that you cannot do on a street corner.
And in Portland, they're doing them all on cable channel 11. And though Control Factor, to make an example, pays to create the show, every cable subscriber is paying for an office full of people who air it. None would appear on camera to talk about Control Factor, but even the show's creator says it's not for everyone.
I have children. I'm a mother. And if there was people running naked on the street corner frolicking in a sexual manner, I wouldn't want my children to see that.
So, following federal guidelines, the show doesn't come on until 11 p.m. And while it airs, a web address is displayed drawing viewers to a business, a pay site for adult photos and video. She says, just like the TV show, made for women by women, but out there for all of us to see.
It is America. We are free to do what we do, and let's just do it and try not to hurt anybody in the process. And I don't think I'm hurting anybody. I'm just giving them a choice.
And you too have a choice. Your cable company can block any channel you deem inappropriate. Most TVs will also do that. But as long as you're paying for cable television, you are also paying for cable access. We're live in News Control. I'm Ryan Deal. The 10 o'clock news.
Unbelievable. You can't do it on a street corner, but you can do it right there on public access TV. Ryan, great story. Thanks.
Walk sign is on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcast television doesn't have the time, the effort, the energy, or the inclination to cover the topics in the depth that you'll see on a public access channel.
This could all go away just at the point where community speech really can start to be meaningful.
Community access is being threatened, and it's very important that we all get involved.
In the earlier centuries, especially in the 18th and 19th century, people would go in a public square, they would get their soapbox, put it down and stand on top of their soapbox to be somewhat elevated, and they had a chance to speak their mind to the local public. There isn't a public square any longer. The public square is television.
The mission of an access center is generally threefold. There's public access, there's educational access, and there's government access.
Anybody in the community could go into, for example, Portland Community Media or Multnomah Community Television, receive training, and make a television program to get their message out into the community.
This is the mobile production vehicle for Portland Community Media. This was created in the mid-'80s. This is a fully operational studio.
It's not commercial. It's just people saying, hey, I'm a member of fill-in-the-blank community. We've done programs with the Filipino community and do a Philippine party and have that as a television show and have literally thousands of people watch that program. People watch it because they love to see their community portrayed on television.
To bring up from bars to a black pattern and ready to roll in 5, 4, 3, 2. Bring it into.
I produce My Iran. Right, it's a cultural show, ethnic cultural show in Farsi language. Well, we are really trying to keep the culture alive. That's our objective number one. And also deliver unbiased news to the community. Because right now, depending on the media that you are watching, you get conflicting news, from everywhere. And that is something that they really want to hear. They want to hear that from someone who is not associated with any mass media and is basically truthful to them.
We really fulfill the need of a niche market to have a social voice. The disenfranchised communities really count on public access nationally to provide a venue for their
We
voice.
did a program about general issues that gay men need to know for good health, and I think today we'll talk a little bit more specifically about things that are of a lot of interest to our patients, sex and drugs, and today's program called Sex in the City, and in this case, Portland.
Cable access television is the last bastion of the First Amendment. We have a first come, first served policy, so anyone who has a message has a way, if they're persistent and do a little work, have a way to get their message out to an audience. That's not going to happen with CBS, and it's not going to happen with CNN.
Now the iron broke the spindles.
The nature of this legislation really will close virtually every access center in the country.
It's really interesting. Right now there are 5 pieces of legislation that are under consideration in Congress that threaten a whole variety of public benefits.
What's happening with the legislation is that every municipality has its own franchise fee that they're charging their customers to cover the costs of public access, and in effect what it's really doing is eliminating those franchise fees.
The regional bell operating companies' position is that public interest obligations should be minimized or eliminated because they cost money. I know the last time that I reviewed the cash flow and the Wall Street numbers on the cable industry, they appear to be doing very, very well, even though we at the local level do have these social obligations that we work with the cable company to provide in our local communities.
And through the day and the days that followed, we realized that we were at war with Japan and that we became victims as a result too.
When these channels were first allocated to the PEG centers, the cable companies were just moving into the cities. They were just starting to lay their lines, and they were making promises left and right.
Many community access centers were delivered as damaged goods. Very often, and I challenge people to this day, turn through the channels in the town you live in, try it, and see if the public access channel has the same sound level as the adjacent broadcast channels. I'll put money to this one, that in almost every city, somehow the public access channels never quite have the same volume. And when you look at the picture, look for the little moving grain in the picture. The public access channels always have more noise than the broadcast channels. And then ask yourself why.
The cable companies and the phone companies would really like to take over cable access. Right now, it's a commercial-free media, but if they were to have access to these channels, they'd just have more commercial media. So they've been hungry for it for a long time, and now they just have another tactic. And one of their tactics is language, and their language is to call this bill the Video Choice Act. It's Orwellian, because really it's not choice for anyone at all, other than to line their pockets with more money.
And the industry, from some of the people on the inside, simply assumed that people would stop watching public access because the picture wasn't good and the sound wasn't good. But what they found is people, despite that, watched public access because they were local programs close to the hearts of the people in those towns.
There's a great Groucho Marx quote where he says, "They say that television is an educational medium, and I guess it is, because every time someone turns one on in this room, I go in the next room and read a good book." That's no longer true, because with our channels and channels that are connected to colleges, we are educating the public on viewpoints that they're not likely to hear in other places. So we're a community forum. Without access, we lose our living room.
Faster, All right, give me a hand. Check it out.
If community access goes away, we'll lose a critical voice that reflects the community. And in this age of media consolidation, I don't think you're going to be able to find that anywhere else.
We need to save this media. We need everyone to watch this, who's watching this, to get involved and to try to contact their legislators and tell them how important this media is to them. It's citizens who will make the difference in whether we have a real democracy ever established in this country or whether we will not.
I took a walk down my past alleyway, remembering the good old days when we used to hang around here, when we used to be caught walking down the Terwilliger Bridge, down the